to you guys about global warming. Global warming, also known as climate change, is the progressive heating of the Earth's atmosphere, mostly caused by what is termed as the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is when greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide burned from fossil fuels is released into our atmosphere, allowing heat from the sun to come in but does not let it escape. This causes our atmosphere to slowly increase in temperature. With this, I claim that global warming will be a serious threat in our future. I support this claim with reasons such as global warming will cause more intense natural disasters, cause resources to become more scarce, and cause serious health risks. To my first supporting claim, as temperatures continue to rise, more and more water vapor evaporate into the atmosphere, where water vapor is the main fuel of the numerous storms we face each year. I have family in the Philippines who always tell me that the typhoons they face annually are getting stronger and more deadlier. I believe this is due to global warming. To back this, George Saulides, a research scientist at NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies and Columbia University, states that if you're creating an atmosphere more loaded with humidity, any storm that does develop has a greater potential to develop into an intense storm. The rise in temperature has led to many deadly natural disasters that have killed millions of people. Global warming has also caused more dangerous heat waves that create wildfire. According to the National Interagency Fire Center, 2015 had one of the worst wildfire seasons on record. Between January 1st and September 29, 2015, there were 50,000 wildfires in the U.S., which burned over 9 million acres. Heat waves will also cause severe droughts. Currently, the California drought has decreased the production of food, which will eventually lead in a decrease of food for our country, because California is one of the main food-producing states. This leads me to my next point, that global warming will cause resources to become scarce. Glaciers and polar ice caps are melting at a rapid rate due to increasing temperatures, which will lead to scarcity of fresh water for developing countries. The Climate Institute, a nonprofit organization dedicated to climate change, states that as climate change increases ocean temperatures, initially at the surface and over centuries at depth, the water will expand, contributing to sea level rise due to thermal expansion. Thermal expansion is likely to have contributed to about 2.5 centimeters of sea level rise during the second half of the 20th century, with the rate of this rise due to this term having increased about 3 times this rate during the 21st century. We then can expect sea levels to rise almost half a dozen inches by the end of this century. The rising sea levels will cause millions of people to be displaced, preventing successful agriculture production. In addition to thermal expansion and glacial melt, global warming changes precipitation patterns, allowing rainy seasons and flooding to become more common. Global warming will also cause ecosystems to change dramatically, such as migration patterns as animals are trying to find colder places to stay for the summer and warmer places for the winter. This can lead to extinction as animals depend on one another in these ecosystems, and we depend on these animals for food. And to my third point, global warming will cause many health risks. Rising temperatures help smog pollution by creating more bad air days. Higher temperatures are the perfect rate for the growth of pollen, which leads to longer and stronger algae seasons. According to an article on the National Resources Defense Council, an environmental activist group, exposure to increased smog, pollen pollution, and wildfire smoke puts a wide range of people at risk for irritated eyes, throat, and lung damage. This includes outdoor workers, children, the elderly, and those who exercise outside. But people with asthma, allergies, and other respiratory diseases face the most serious threats, since exposure to increased pollution heightens sensitivity to allergens, impairs lungs, triggers asthma attacks, sends people to the hospital, and even results in death. In 2010, the American Lung Association estimated that about 23 million Americans suffered from asthma. Furthermore, global warming will cause bad farming seasons. Some crops, such as wheat, that we depend for bread, cookies, and noodles, to name a few, require a cold period called vernalization. As temperatures rise, it is harder for farmers to produce crops, when winters are shorter and summers are longer. This can lead to food shortages and starvation within a population. With these 3 points, I believe that global warming will become a serious threat in our near future. Thank you.
All right, this is a pretty straightforward topic. We know what the proposition is. We know what the controversy on that proposition is. There's a good outline and structure previewed for us. As you get to the individual parts of the speech, you signpost them pretty well. There's usually an explanation of the process in some of the arguments also, although I do see a few places where the link to global warming is not as clear as it ought to be. I think you're going to have to work on that a bit, but I thought you were very consistent in citing evidence early on in the process. You kind of introduced the story through your family in the Philippines, but then you followed up with a good piece of testimony about the impact of humidity on the intensity of the storms. What's not clear is that there has been increased humidity and that's due to global warming. That's the step that I think you need a little bit more information on. The same thing with the wildfires. I thought you did a little bit better job, though, because in explaining the thermal expansion issue and the change in the water levels on the next point. The displacement point, there's a piece of information that says millions are going to be displaced, but it doesn't say. Well, first of all, I don't know where that information came from, and it doesn't say what the cost of this displacement is going to be and how significant it's going to be, because if it's 6 inches, for instance, I don't know how much land area we're going to lose. I mean, if it's just 6 inches, okay, so they step back 6 inches. What is it that we're actually talking about? They have to abandon their homes because they are in what's now going to be a flood zone that'll be regularly inundated with water. Then you need to explain that. I thought you did a good job citing your sources on most of the material as well. You're reading a little too much and probably a little faster than is necessary. You've got a little extra time. All right, thank you.